Mama, welcome to the One Income Family Podcast. Today's episode is all about learning how to live beneath your means, which essentially means learning how to live on less than the number on your paycheck. When you first start managing your money, your focus is usually on the amount that is left in your account. If you listen to episode 40, I share my number one rule that keeps you from spending all of your money on things in the moment. And that is exactly what I'm talking about here. You buy what's most important first and then use the leftover as you please. This is a good starting point in managing your finances, but it's not going to help you pay off debt or achieve any financial goal you wish to reach in the future. It's an in-the-moment, paycheck-to-paycheck style of budgeting, which again is a great starting point to help you start becoming more mindful about your money. But our ultimate goal is to be able to save for your future wishes and desires. And how you start doing that is what this episode is all about. This episode will help you set up your budget so that you are living on less than you make, allowing you to pay off debt and start saving for those living big on a budget dreams that you have. So go grab yourself a pen and paper and let's dive into today's episode so that you can take the next step, grow in your money-minded thoughts, and set yourself up for financial success. Do you find it hard to save or get out of debt? Are you constantly searching for ways to save money and live on a budget? Do you have big dreams only to be stopped by not sticking to your budget? Are you ready for financial freedom? Then you, Mama, are in the right place. Welcome to the One Income Family Podcast, where you will learn what it looks like to budget on one income, how to partner with God in your finances, how to budget in a way that's easy to stick to, and how to cut costs and save money, all so that you can start building wealth. It is my mission to equip you with these tools so that you can live in abundance regardless of the amount in your account. Hey, I'm Molly, a budget coach for stay-at-home moms, and I know what it's like to struggle on one income. I've lived paycheck to paycheck, relied on being frugal, and failed many budgets until I learned how to budget without tracking. This has allowed my family to pay off debt and build wealth all on one income. So, if you are ready for financial freedom, then go grab that stroller, plug in those headphones, and let's get to it. Financially, living on one income is a lot of work. It's not a simple, oh, look at my budget and do I have the money kind of thing like when you have two incomes. It's sitting down, thinking and looking at everything, seeing where you can tweak it to make sure that everything fits inside this bubble that you have to make sure doesn't pop, right? Or you're going to be stressing and trying to figure out where the money is coming for the next big thing that just life throws at you, right? I remember thinking that I would never be able to become a stay-at-home mama. We had too much debt. My husband's job alone couldn't cover it. Or so I thought, right? But God was there through it all. He taught me and guided me along the way, helping me tweak my budget, helping me to get rid of debt that we didn't need, helping me to embrace a more simple and frugal lifestyle that has allowed us to live abundantly on less, bringing not just me, but the entire family joy and peace, no matter how much money is in our bank account. And I know that if this is possible for me, it is 100% possible for you too. Don't believe me? Go grab a free 30-minute clarity call at www.calendly.com/Molly Bunnell. That's CALENDLY.com/Molly with a Y, B as in boy, ENELL. And let me show you how this can be possible for you and your family as well. Alrighty, it is time for what you have been waiting for. Today's episode that is all about the 3 ways that I'm going to give you to help you live on less than you make so that you can reach your financial goals fast, right? Because that's what we want. We want to be able to reach the goals that we have in mind, like going on vacation or being able to renovate your house, even though there are times when sometimes your financial goals aren't the goals that you really want to do. I'm currently living in that kind of situation because my house, it needs taken care of. It was run down. It didn't get taken care of like it should have. And I mean, that's the way old houses are, right? And it happens. Things happen like that. But that just means that I have to put a little more money towards those things than I'd like to. And that means that I am sitting here going, okay, so instead of going and buying myself a camper so that we can go camping, I have to put new soffits and fascia, which if you don't know what that is, it's the eave of your house. So at the bottom of the roof, you have the part that touches the wall that you kind of have like a little shelf kind of thing, right? And then the front face of that is the fascia. So that's the soffit and fascia. If that was confusing and you're curious, look it up. But anyways, that's where my money is going right now, which again isn't a bad thing. It means that there will be no more birds coming into my soffit and fascia and laying eggs and having babies and then them dying and making my house stink, right? That's just not fun. It also means that the bajillions of flies that we have at this place are going to be kept out because all of the nooks and crannies that they're able to squeeze into are finally going to get sealed up, which is awesome. And it's amazing because I'm sick of the flies. I'm sick of the birds getting into my ceilings, right? Into the soffits and everything. And so that is where my money is currently going because it is more of a priority. But that doesn't mean that I'm not sitting here going, man, I really just want to figure out a way to be able to go camping, to be able to go fishing, to not be working on my house, because we do get tired of having to do the things that we should do instead of the things that we want to do, right? Because that is just so sometimes not very fun. But before I continue to go down that rabbit hole, my point is that if I didn't have my budget set up in a way that I'm living on less than the dollar amount on my paycheck, or I should say on my husband's paycheck, we wouldn't be able to do any of this. Like, we would be sitting ducks, living in a house that isn't fun, like falling apart because it needs painted, but we got it painted, or we started to get it painted. It should have taken only 1 year, but this is a 3-year long process of getting the house painted because I'm not motivated to get it done all in one shot, right? But anyways, if I didn't have the budget set up the way I did, the way that God has led me to set it up to work for my family, to be able to live on less than the amount that He brings in every single paycheck or every single month, then we wouldn't be able to renovate the house. We wouldn't be able to try to figure out a way to go out and go camping, right? Still while doing the renovations. We just have to be a little less ambitious, right? It means no camper. It means maybe a tent or that kind of thing. Maybe borrowing somebody's camper or borrowing somebody's tent, depending on how much income is left, how much margin we have left over after everything else that needs to get taken care of. But if I didn't have that margin, none of this would be happening. And that is my point. And that is why I really am excited about today's episode. I'm excited to share with you how I am able to put margin into my income, how I'm able to put extra income. Well, it's not really extra income because it's the same paycheck, but I'm able to move things around to figure out how to be either more frugal minded or to cut costs in a way that allows there to be more income in my every month paycheck or budget. And so that is what I'm going to share with you today. So let's just dive into that right now. The first way that you can set up your budget to live on less than you make is to set up your budget on your base income. So what your base income is the dollar amount that you get every single paycheck that is the same without overtime, without extra like bonuses or anything that comes. It is just the amount that you get every single time. It's the amount that you can rely on to be there and not have to stress about it not being there, right? So for instance, my husband, he makes an hourly wage. Well, it's actually a little more confusing than that because sometimes he is on like a route where when he drives places, it is more income, but I'm not going to confuse you with that. I'm just going to stick with the hourly wage so that you can understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so he gets a set hourly wage, and that's for 8 hours a day, right? But every single day, because he works for a company that's like FedEx, but with bigger freight, he gets overtime pretty much every single day. So that means that we get overtime on every single paycheck unless he's sick, unless he takes a day off, then he gets that set 8 hours every single day. So I don't want to set up my budget based off of that overtime income that he gets because I would be pulling my hair out, not able to pay bills because I have like created a budget that is above my actual physical amount that we get every single paycheck should something happen. And so you want to set up your budget based on that base income amount. So what is the amount that you get every single hour for 8 hours for 40 hours a week, right? That is what you want to set your budget up on. If you work extra days, if you get overtime, all that kind of stuff, you don't want to include that on your monthly budget because that's when you put yourself in a hard place. And if you don't have time, like if you don't have PTO saved up and you're taking a day off and you're having to take it without pay, how are you going to pay for that? How are you going to be able to make sure that your bills are paid? And how you do that is by setting up your budget on your base income. Like this is the hard and fast rule every single time we go and we shift to a new job. This is what we set it up on. We had a past job where they were trying to convince my husband to work there. And he said, well, I need this much money. Otherwise, I can't work here. And they're like, well, you're going to get overtime every single day because of such and such. I forget exactly what happened. But I told my husband, I'm like, no, I don't want to have to rely on overtime because what if something happens and they're like, oh, I'm going to send you home earlier. And then like not even a few days later, he actually found out from people that had worked there in the past that they sometimes were like, okay, well, if we don't need you here, we're going to send you home regardless of whether you need that time or not, right? And so that is why you do not want to set your budget up based on that overtime and rely on something that even if they say that's something you're going to get, it may not happen. And so you want to make sure that your budget is set up on the dollar amount that you know with absolute certainty that you will get every single time. So for you who may be bringing in extra income on like a side gig, if you have inconsistency in your income as well, what is the lowest amount that you have brought in that you know you can bring in every single time? If you want to add that to the income, put that amount down. Say you get an influx of maybe 500 or 700 or maybe 1,000, then sometimes it drops down to 200. Base it off of that 200, and then whatever comes in after that is what you can put towards your margin. It's what you can put towards all the extra things that you want to do, towards your savings, towards whatever goal if you're trying to pay off debt. That is where that extra income like amplifies because you're not setting up your budget on the overtime or on the overabundance that you get sometimes. And then from there, you still want to set up your budget based on to where the next point is by percentage goals. So sometimes when you are on one income, you are like on a bare bones budget, which means that you have no extra room, you have no extra margin, everything goes towards a bill, or sometimes you are so above your means that you have to go into further debt in order to pay for that stuff. And that's not a place that you want to be. And I don't suggest you get there. So if you're in this position like that, definitely find a way to bring in a little more income on the side. And there are so many ways to do that. If that's something that you would like me to do an episode on, send me an email. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you would like to hear, what kind of content you want me to make for you, right? So shoot me an email. But the next thing that you want to do is you want to set your budget up based on percentages. So the big one that I like is the give, save, spend. So you give 10%, you save 20%, and you spend 70% of your income. But like I said, if you're on that bare bones budget, this is difficult. But when you start looking for ways to bring in more income, looking for ways to be helpful with the finances, whether that's finding ways to cut costs in the grocery budget, finding ways to, just be really frugal minded and be really problem somatic. I don't think that's a word, but try to really just be creative in the way that you are trying to find ways to either put money back into your income, into your monthly budget, or ways to bring in extra income, right? Because that is when you will be able to set a goal of the 10, 20, 70% rule. I'm not quite there yet, but that is a goal of mine that I would like to get to. So then the next thing that you want to do, okay, back up. I missed a point that I wanted to say with the percentages. So we're going to go back to where you set up your budget on your base income, right? And then on your base income, you still want to have it set up to where you are saving money and giving money, if that's a priority for you, so that you are not spending every single dollar of your base income. Because what if you get a set salary? What if your husband is on a salary and you get the same amount every single month? It does not change because you're on a salary, right? So then if you had set up your base income off of that amount and you're spending every single dollar, then you still have no way to save money. So you want to still make sure that you are doing the give, save, spend percentages on your base income. And then when you get that overtime, when you get that extra income, it's just like so much more extra money that you can be like, oh, look, I can throw this at a goal. I can get rid of debt so much faster. I can do so many more financial things that I want to do so much quicker because I have it set up in this manner. Okay, so then the third thing that I want to talk about is look at where you can cut your monthly spending. And no, I'm not talking about getting rid of subscriptions you don't want to get rid of. Yes, maybe you do go through and you find some subscriptions in your finances that you're like, oh, I didn't know I have that, and you can get rid of it kind of thing. But I'm not telling you that you have to cut the things that you enjoy, right? What I'm telling you is a big thing that has really helped me in my one income journey is that I have stopped trying to split up the payments into like a monthly spending plan and have tried to buy things either in bulk or to buy it like from saving up my money. And what I mean here is by buying it outright and by not putting it on credit, I have been able to keep my money in my monthly budget. So for instance, I did this when I was cloth diapering, right? So when I decided to cloth diaper, I sat down and I'm like, okay, so I can sit down and I can buy these diapers outright for like, I don't remember how much I spent on it. It was like $500-$600. But I can sit down and I can buy this outright where it's a total of $500 or $600, or I can spend $50 a month on diapers and wipes, which maybe with wipes it'd be more. I didn't really calculate the exact amount, but I can spend $50 a month and take out that much money that I could be putting towards other things like groceries, like entertainment of some sort that I wanted to do, like some fun spending money. I can take this whole chunk of money that I can save up for, spend it all at once, get the whole thing, and then not have to take $50 out of every single monthly budget, right? There's $50 back into my monthly budget that I can disperse in other places that I would like that money to go. And that is what I'm talking about. So instead of buying monthly and splitting the payments up to a monthly payment, what can you buy in bulk? Maybe this is food. Maybe you can buy a whole bunch of canned items at once. Maybe you can go to Costco. I don't have a Costco around me, so I can't do that. But maybe you can buy things on subscription, like diapers and toilet paper and vitamins and cleaning products, the things that you can get a discount on because you're buying it on subscription. What can you save up to buy instead of putting it on credit? So things like furniture in your house, so tables and couches, TVs, you can do that with your cell phone and make your cell phone price even lower, right? You can buy computers outright. You can buy appliances outright instead of getting it on monthly payments. So stop trying to do the whole layaway system. Stop trying to buy things with like your credit card, because in all reality, can you afford that? So this is a little off topic, but if you are going to put something on credit, make sure that your budget can afford the payment increase. I know that's something that people don't think about with their credit cards. They're just like, oh, I've got credit on my card. I can swipe my card. But that also means that your monthly payment is going to go up. So instead of using that credit card, instead of putting things on credit through like the appliance store or your phone or those kind of things, figure out a way, save up your money for that item, buy it outright, and keep that $50 to $70 to $100 extra dollars in your monthly budget so that you can use that on other things. That is like the biggest aha moment I had when I was trying to figure this whole thing out. It's not necessarily a bad thing about credit. It's not a bad thing about credit cards. It's not a bad thing about any of that kind of stuff. It was just a goal of how can I keep money in my monthly budget? How can I use my savings to be able to save money? Because when I do that, I also don't have to pay interest, right? So I don't have to pay for the things that I want to buy for using other people's money, right? That's essentially what credit is. I have to pay to use money. So instead of paying to use somebody else's money, use my own money, keep money in my monthly budget, and voila, like life can be so much easier because you're not stuck in the monthly cycle of credit and the monthly cycle of just like pulling money out of your budget and trying to put every single thing towards these small in the moment buys. Like, how can you sit down and think about what you need to buy and figure out a way of whether you can save up for it, buy it in the moment, buy it when it's on sale, buy it all at once instead of splitting it up into every single paycheck or month, because that is what's going to take away from your monthly spending. Okay. I'm going to stop there because I could just continue the rant, but I don't want to rant at you. I just want you to understand how big of how big of an income, how big of an impact this has had on my budgeting, how big of an impact this has changed everything in what I do. And it's not about credit being a bad thing. It's more about how much money I can keep in my account, in my monthly budget, in my area, and not have to disperse it into all these separate little areas that is more difficult to manage, more difficult to understand what's going on, areas that can just fraud can pop up all the time and all these things that could go wrong. If I just keep it in my own little hub, it makes it so much easier, so much less stressful, and it just puts money back into my bank account that I can use on other things that are either more important or more fun, right? Okay, so I hope that this episode has really just opened your eyes to how you can live on less than you make. So I'm gonna recap those things. So first, set up your budget on your base income. Second, set up your base income budget with percentages. And if you don't have the income to actually have a 10, 20, 70% budget, make it a goal, make it a way that you can work to that. Figure out how it is that you can get to that point so that you have the money to be able to spend on the things that you want. And then 3, look for ways that you can cut monthly spending and keep that income, that monthly income in that monthly budget, because that is going to just explode your savings. It's going to explode everything that you want to do and just really make a huge impact on your finances. Okay. If you would like help on this, definitely reach out, grab a free clarity call. You can get one of those at www.calendly.com/Molly Bunnell, because this is what I want to help you do. I want to help you set up that budget so that you can live abundantly, regardless of the amount in your account, so that you can live with joy and excitement and not have money being the thing that's weighing you down. So definitely go to calendly.com/Molly Bunnell. That's CALENDLY.com/Molly with a Y, B as in boy, ENELL, and book your free call. Because what's it going to hurt to be able to sit down and figure out why you're struggling with your finances and to really see what it is that can just really amplify what it is that you're doing and make an impact on your budget and your finances and your family so that you can live abundantly. Okay. I pray this episode has just really opened your eyes to ways that you can live on less and really just set up your budget in a way that's going to make major impact. With that being said, I pray that you have a great rest of your week, and I will see you back here next week on another One Income Family podcast episode. Before you go, I hope this episode has ignited a fire inside of you, and I pray that it creates long-lasting impact. Did you know that you too can impact other one-income families? All you have to do is leave a written review, and you help get the podcast in the hands of other mamas in need. You can also text this episode to that friend who is also knee-deep in the same kind of chaos as you and inspire them to make a change. Also, your review lets me know that you're enjoying the show, and that lights me up. I get so excited to hear from you. Another great way that we can connect, though, is through the One Income Family community over on Facebook. So after you're done leaving that 5-star review, head on over to the community where you will find other mamas working their way out of the chaos. You can ask your questions and connect with others who truly understand what you are going through. I cannot wait to connect with you in the community. Until then, I will see you right here next week on another episode of the One Income Family podcast.